Why do we hate Young Justice but love Young Justice? This question has left every DC/Warner Bros. Exec scratching their head, wondering what makes these people give this much of a fuck about a cartoon. To the uninitiated, Young Justice is a show about the sidekicks to the main DC superheroes and their struggles growing up while not being caught in their predecessor's shadow. And any hate it gets comes from hyper nostalgic idiots who despise anything new. But to me, those statements couldn't be further from the truth. Like, I've been rocking with Young Justice since it first aired on Cartoon Network. I am still mourning the death of Wally West. He's alive and I won't hear otherwise. I'm still asking myself, why didn't Aqualad and Rocket become a thing? Someone get Dr. Umar in here. And out of this love, and through later seasons' disappointment, two truths became apparent. Two beacons of light, clearing the murky darkness, answering why we hate Young Justice but love Young Justice. Let's get cracking. The first truth for the love-hate relationship a lot of folk have with Young Justice really comes down to storytelling 101. The literal first lesson any good writer should know. So pay attention, keep the story personal, and Young Justice completely swept its future version in this category. What I mean is, early Young Justice cracked the code in terms of telling deeply personal narratives that compel you to adore a character while teasing just a little bit more about the world at large. They take these random figures from relative obscurity, except for Robin, we all know he's him, pump them full with personalities, flaws, strengths, then ram them through the most soul-gripping storyline all in 22 minutes. Like that episode Cold Hearted, where Wally's desperately trying to be with his friends fighting crazy weather machines, but he's tasked with instead running cross-country to deliver a heart for a dying girl. And as he's running, he's getting distracted fighting villains, only to remember someone's life's on the line. So he runs, but it is too late. The girl is dead, but that was only a lie, and Wally has to steal back the heart, expose a coup d'etat, because the girl was a foreign queen of course, and save a young person's life. And the weather machines? Well, they were just decoys from the very beginning. There's the time Artemis and Zatanna helped a dead girl's soul find peace by stopping her brother, who's now wielding a magical sword, meant for the pure of heart, a sword he killed his younger sister to wield to turn his heart pure evil. Season 1 Young Justice was so good at creating plotlines with stakes you actually cared about that this was me watching the most gut-wrenching family drama about robots. Every story was personal. Every episode made you feel for the men and women going through hell and back while still trying to figure out their place in the world. And this is where my hot take comes from, that early Young Justice is just as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender. However, in later seasons, I believe they forgot the importance in keeping the show intimate. We started to see an intent zooming out. Suddenly, it wasn't a handful of key characters and a villain of the week. Out of nowhere, the UN was getting involved. Social media had a presence in the story. We were exploring a new planet every second episode. Instead of a people-driven plot, it felt more like an event-driven plot. And before you go yelling, no, I am not saying you can't tell epic stories with big external influences. And no, Young Justice did not fail every time they did this. What I am saying is that when you expand the story to deal with the wider world, you still need deeply personal narratives to represent this expansion. And the thing is, Young Justice has succeeded at this. Season 2 was the perfect example, where it took this epic plot of an alien invasion and boiled it down to a young hero, Blue Beetle, desperately trying not to betray his friends. Or take the saga of the Lords of Chaos versus the Lords of Order. This is the prime place to lose an audience in all that mystical mumbo jumbo. But again, Young Justice thrives by grounding that narrative in how the gods' battle for universal control is destroying the relationship between a father and his daughter. By choosing to personalize a story, showing how the plot intimately affects and is affected by the characters, you ensure we love and stay interested in the show. Because ultimately, we are not here for the UN or social media and all that other bull. We're here for the characters. Which is the perfect segue for why personal storylines alone don't explain the push-pull we feel towards Young Justice. To fully understand that, you have to examine the characters themselves. Examine the like, subscribe and share buttons while you're at it. The difference in quality of characters between the start of the show and the end is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think people realize we struck gold with the cast of the team in Season 1. A rageful yet desperate for belonging Superboy. A graceful yet burdened by leadership Aqualad. An acrobat stuck in the Bat Shadow in Robin. An insecure speedster Kid Flash. A double agent in Speedy. A magician with daddy issues in Zatanna. A devil wearing green or white in Miss Martian. An archer looking to hit a different bullseye in life, Artemis. And Rocket. Justice for Rocket. With these couple names, we were fed rivalries, duos, trios, love triangles, good guys turn bad guys turn good, true love finding its way twice. It was magical. Like, so much characterization and personality was built into these guys that it didn't matter if a scene had 100 people in it. If just one of the original team showed up, it felt like everyone else disappeared. But what did they go and do in Season 3? Push all the star players to the back and force some schmucks down our throats. Forager is a literal bug, guys. As cute as he talks, there's no way he could have the same pull as a human looking character. He's a bug! Brion's a literal repeat of Season 1 Superboy, anger issues in tow, minus SB's charm. Like, Superboy got angry because there was a man named Superman denying his existence like a deadbeat dad. Brion had all his teammates' support and was still beefing them like they killed his parents. And Halo. Look, I have to be honest here. As a person who has Muslim family and who has celebrated Eid with them, I feel her character is extremely disrespectful. Taking the body of a Muslim girl, fusing it with the soul of a sentient alien computer, so the result is a non-binary bisexual who dates casually, drinks, but also wears hijab because it feels right. What the fuck are we talking about right now? Like, you can't create a character who wears sacred Islamic attire, who relates with other Muslims, who was literally Muslim in a past life, and then get to say they're not technically Muslim, so they can now do things which go against the source of inspiration for this character completely. You either respect the religion of the character you're making, and it works, just ask Nightcrawler and X-Men, or don't add religious characters into your story or use their clothings either. Very simple. As for Halo herself, I didn't mind her too much, bar her cheating. She's a lot more bearable than Brion to say the least, but her trick of constantly dying to show how strong the enemy is got stale quick. Plus, how many powers does she need? Resurrection, soul cleansing, flight, energy blast, invisibility, teleporting, force field, light manipulation, holograms. Pulling a Zordon? That's all the way too much. I don't care what anyone says, that's ridiculous. And don't get me started on Beast Boy. That guy was doing up influencer instead of battling bad guys. Get the fuck out of my face, man. All this to say, none of these people had the charisma, the pedigree, the general coolness to be headlining a show like Young Justice. If you felt the OGs had had their turn so bad and it was time for someone new to enter the spotlight, how about the heroes you were grooming to enter the spotlight in Season 2? Blue Beetle and his friends. We could have gotten another Season 1 with Wonder Girl, Red Robin, Blue Beetle, Static Shock, Rebound Boy, Lagoon Boy. We were robbed. So when you put it all together, people don't hate Young Justice because they're chronically nostalgic or have a thing against diverse characters. Well, some don't. We're just disappointed that Young Justice went from a drama with captivating characters thrown into the most grand yet personal storylines to a show that would throw half of that away to fix something that was never broken to begin with. Love y'all, like and subscribe, bye.